So here we are with episode 8 of I'm in Love with the Villainess. The tension between the commoners and the nobles are rising. Dee Dee's out here firing on commoners who are just doing peaceful protests. And we'll just have to see where this spark goes. You know, it's gonna go and lead on over to a flame that's going to lead straight into the TNT factory. I don't know where I was going with that one, but... If you guys like the video, like the video. If you dislike it, dislike it. I do have my full length up on Patreon and early access to non-seasonal and some seasonal shows on the YouTube memberships. Other than that, let us get started. Oh my god, suddenly we're having a... Suddenly we have the map now? And then here are the commoners getting fucking attacked. I will say that since this is narrated by Ray, right? She's too busy thinking about Claire. Of course, she's not really thinking about, like, this whole event until it, like, comes right at her face. Even though she probably has the idea since, you know, she plays the game. Damn, dude. He just attacked them unprovoked and everything? Doesn't mean that he should fucking attack, like a goddamn. Maybe you should have attacked him with words instead. She says, well, Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, I don't think this kid deserved this for talking shit. Claire's just over like Of course. Yeah, so they did talk to you. You's the one who fucking decided to follow. Then he's probably like, oh. Y'all are literally working on the backbone of commoners, so... So you fucking blew him up? You could've just punched him, you know? That both of them didn't realize. Well, there was also that man, you know, with the masked man and everything. Maybe he, fucked with his wand or some shit. Well, you still pointed a gun at him, essentially. I wasn't planning on shooting it. I was just threatening him. But I refused. Before God, all are equal, except for commoners. Oh my god, we're suddenly having the explanation of this? I'm just gonna put timestamps down for this and I'm just gonna... Wow, who would have thunk? Magic discharge on its own. Peer pressure, dude. I like that Claire is following them for the commoner stuff. You say it's so crowded, but like, there's such a wide room. You could have just... Why you gotta go in the middle? Sorry, I can't read magic language. Has he been expelled or what? Ah, house arrest. Oh no, the nobles! Oh no, these are commoners! Ah, commoners, okay. Whew! I was like, why are the no- No, get the fuck out of here. You're gonna be a scapegoat. Oh, so everybody's under house arrest. Oh. Oh, look at her thinking about... Of course. Does that mean that that guy in the mask is part of the church? Yeah, she ain't got time. Oh shit! Oh shit! Mmm. Why did that guy's head looks? Why did their heads in the background look so humongous? Oh. Okay, that's very funny. Please stay there until tomorrow. Something bad's happening. Oh, just knocked her out. Damn, school gate's gonna be broken down tonight. Whoo-wee! A noble hunt's happening. Oh my god. Oh, it is makeup. Okay. Quickly! Go in! Yeah! Yeah! Set the trees on fire too while you're at it! What are you gonna do to him? Oh shit! You see Thane? He's got his knuckle dusters now. Look at the princess out here, beating people up. Oh, that's what we saw. That's, Lene's brother? Lambert. Well, he is the... he is the expert, and he was the one who was just like, oh, I didn't see anything wrong with it. Oh my god! I don't have evidence, but... Ooh, the commoner movement means nothing. Oh, okay, what is this music that kicked in? Damn. Meanwhile, Claire's just over here. I trusted you, but... How terrifying he is. Oh, shit! Are you saying a slime bites hurts? Oh. Oh, shit! What this development is, or who he is. Don't worry. I'll just fix it. Wow! Oh, a chimera? Alright. Oh? Just puts her in a bucket. Oh my god, the rain in the background. Hold on. Oh, she used a lot of magic, huh? I'm gonna have to process this when the season's over. I'm gonna process all of this once. So okay. Alright, that is the preview. So I'm going to I'm gonna go back to the center. Alright, so that was episode 8 of I'm in Love with the Villainess. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what your thought. Wow, I just completely forgot how I usually. Anyways, leave your thoughts in the comments down below. You know that I always like talking to you guys or something. I don't know. For me, I thought that this was a good episode, maybe? See, in my brain right now, right, on one side, I appreciate that we're suddenly getting world building for this whole thing, and I appreciate that, like, some sort of fucking conflict is happening. On the other hand, the other side of my brain is also thinking, oh my god, this is the first time we're actually getting something. Because after this episode, because this episode is like the first episode where I actually want to write notes. All the other episodes, I'm just kind of like, okay, you know, it kind of feels easy to go through and kind of see what it is, you know, for a way that it is. And I didn't really need to write notes in particular, because usually when I write notes or something, it tends to be something that especially for something like the vexations of a shut-in vampire or something, right? I write notes because there's a lot of world building in that story, and I like it, right? It's a lot of there's like conflict in every arc and all that, so I write notes, and I am able to remember what the hell happens. But for this anime, I kind of just felt like I didn't need to write notes, because what it felt like was that I mentioned that it really gave off that vibe of slice of life, and it kind of just felt like they were just going through their typical school life, except with these like little build-ups, these little foreshadowing of the things that's going to happen. And as I was talking about how the second half things were going to spill over, you know, I thought we were just going to spill over like there's too much water and it's just casually dripping out or whatever. But no, this episode, somebody just fucking grabbed this and just fucking spilled the water all over the place. And I'm just over here fucking wet with knowledge. Don't take that out of context. And I'm just here like, I appreciate the world building. Thank you for telling me, finally, you know, thank you for giving me the map of the Bowery Kingdom, and then showing all the other kingdoms that's surrounding it, right? Giving it, as Ray is here talking about how the Bowery Kingdom is still under threat from the Nur Empire to the east. Also looks like the Nur Empire is to the north as well, but you know, whatever. So like the most powerful families eventually became royalty or nobility and began collecting taxes from the commoners, because of course they do. With the rise of magic, it's harder to maintain this equilibrium. So the king
accepts commoners as scholarship students, and the Royal Academy was celebrated for treating all students equally, but that is not the case because, well, with what just happened to Dee Dee. Well, sorry, what happened to Matt? Dee Dee didn't fucking get burned or anything. I'll talk about Claire and her stance, the change in her stance in this episode a little bit later, but I wanted to continue to talk about... Actually, you know what? I have a whole other page that I've kind of have been written for other things besides... here, let me show you, since... I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but hopefully you'll be able to, and hopefully I'm not shining the light directly on it. But this is like the character notes. But by character notes, I mean I write the character names, and then I just hopefully remember what the hell everything is. Sometimes I write a little bit of notes. But this whole second page is all the other things that I find that I needed to write notes down. And really, most of it is just about magic. And it's just about, like, school-related stuff. And so the one thing that I was thinking about is that, wow, this is, again, this is the first time that they're actually showcasing us some sort of world building. And let me go to some other timestamps that I've written down. That is for the Matt situation, which I will talk about. For Claire, here it is, this fucking situation. And also it's Ray being like, let's talk about the lineage of the Bauer family. And I've made note about this where it's like when we're getting explanations, it usually comes from Ray. When you think about that in that perspective, it's an understandable thing that Ray came into this world and she charges head on to Claire, and we kind of see her doing some stuff behind the scene, and we don't really get to see it until she is forced to put it out, like in episode 2, where she was doing something and she was forced to say this whole stuff to Dolan, Claire's father, in order to get the job as Claire's maid. And then there's the other one where she was forced to come out through Lene, because Lene realized that Ray was the person who made these recipes for that big restaurants and all that, right? She's the one who invented the chocolate and the mayonnaise and everything. So that's when we kind of learn that she has that, because she's forced to talk about it. So it's an understandable thing that if we are learning information from from Ray, we're not really going to hear much about the world, because she's not interested in it until it comes straight into her face, right? Until she's unable to ignore it any further, albeit she is still doing stuff behind the scene, right? She's doing things without us really realizing. But here it is in this situation where the rise between the commoners and the nobles are getting a little bit out of hand, so she has to think about it, and so here she is explaining it to us. So she's talking about the lineage of the Bauer family. The mother of Rod and Prince Thane was a princess from the neighboring lands of the Alps. She was the former queen who died at a young age, so they don't have a mother anymore. And Prince Yu's mother is the current queen, Rich, who is part of the church. Before marrying the king, she was a cardinal of the spiritual church. The church is the dominant religion here, devoted to the spirits. The king hoped that the marriage would give it power over the church. But in the end, the church grew even more powerful due to its closeness to the royal family. And so there's this potential conflict between Thane, Rod, and Yu, because Yu comes from a different family, or a different mother and all that. We kind of saw with the way that Thane's just like, oh, you can't talk to your mother? I thought she was blood related. And Yu's just like, the fuck, dog, just because we're blood related doesn't mean that I can just go talk to her. She's the literal queen. The school will be closing for a while. The military will join our guards until the protests calm down. So I can't stand by and accept this. That commoner. Okay, this is still just a Claire thing that I will talk about later, but from what the president says, it seems some nobles who dislike the commoner movement sought a reduced sentence. And so I thought they'd seem awfully quiet lately. We didn't handle this well at all. On top of everything, it looks like the church is helping the nobles. And then we also hear that the church is helping the commoners as well. What do you mean? Isn't the church financing the commoner movement? Yeah, so they started to think about, like, isn't the church is just helping both movements, because, you know, if both of them are weak, the church gets everything. So let's see. Rod says that's all politics. They claim they never get involved in politics, but their real intentions are different. A power struggle, is it? The church wants to take power from the royal family. I bet they're making commoners and noble clash by helping them both, in an effort to weaken the authority of nobility and royalty. And then Raylair's just too much knowledge for me. Food. And so it's all like there's this wedge that could be happening between the princess, right? With Rod asking, like, you think it's the queen, does she have anything to do with this? She has nothing to do with this, right? And Yu's just like, well, I don't know. I can't fucking read my mother's thoughts. So yeah, this is when Thane is just like, oh, come on, she's your blood-related mother. Why can't she? Why can't you fucking go and talk with? You know what? If I was you at that point, I'd be like, yo, can you fucking seek an audience with your dad? He's the king, isn't he? He's your fucking he's blood related, ain't he? Okay, and then we've got this part where the bell that was shown back in episode, what, 6, 7, episode 5, somewhere around there, they showcased this bell, and so that was Ray hinting that there was going to be some conflict or whatever, right? The peaceful days aren't going to happen, which also kind of understand why the episodes have been very amplified to the way that Ray is doing, right? Because she's trying to embrace this calm time before everything fucking goes to shit, right? So she's embracing all of it, and that's why the whole show has been in very much a slice of life feel. But then we got this bell monster, and then we're revealed that it's Lambert who's behind all this all along, right? He was the guy who was messing with Dee Dee's, and the sort of evidence that we kind of have is that he's the master at not fixing, but he's a technological guy, right? So he's good at all these, like, he's able to fix the lights, he's able to fix the wand gems, so obviously he'd be able to fuck up the magic gem as well, so then when Dee Dee pulls out his Glock, you know, it misfires. Ray just goes and because she knows the storyline, so she's just blurring it all out. She has no evidence. She only knows because she's played the game. And hold on, let me, yeah, so you did something to Dee Dee's wand. That's a false accusation. There was nothing wrong with the wand. Well, yeah, you're the one, yeah, it's confirmed by you yourself. Since you're a magic tool specialist. There you go. A magic tool specialist, always inspecting and maintaining them. Rigging Dee Dee's wand to discharge on its own and eliminating all evidence. It must have been real simple. And it wasn't just that incident, right? You've been fermenting animosity between nobles and commoners all along, and once the school was engulfed by a rioting mob, you're going to use that bell to make monsters attack. That was your plan, wasn't it? He's just like, yeah, that's a very interesting deduction, you know, I got any evidence? Nah, fam. I just know. Source, trust me, bro. And I just don't know how to feel about it. Genuinely, I just don't know how to feel about it. And again, that's why I'm saying that I'll process this once the season's over. I will process this episode again. And then we've got, like, the Auto Soul company, right? It's entrusted by the kingdom with mining and distributing the magic stone, and they've amassed enormous wealth from it. If they were to take down the kingdom and nobles that gave them their riches, they'd be left with nothing. Normally, of course, but they're using Lene as a hostage. They, as in the guy who looks like he's probably working with I don't know, the only reason why I think the masked man looks like he's working with the church is because he dresses like a person who's probably with the church, you know? That's my only assumption. That's who he is. And also, we're getting the whole idea that the church wants the power. So, right, there's that whole idea. And, or actually, if they were to take down, they'd be left with nothing. Normally, of course. But if they as in the family, right? If the family were to take down the kingdom that gave them their riches, they would left them with nothing. Normally, of course, but they're taking, using Lene as who is they? Now, I feel like I've just already had the answer, but suddenly I'm confused again. Simply because the church guy, he might not be a church guy, but like I'm assuming he's a church guy for now. The church guy comes in and he's just like, hey, if you do this stuff, we'll make sure that you escape with your sister and you have new identities. I don't know. I'm confusing myself. You know what? Sometimes I get really into, like, the fucking words, and I'm just like, I don't know. What do you mean by they? What do you mean using? What do you mean Lene? But, the one ground that, again, this is coming from Rei's, source, which is, again, trust me, bro, and him, and her knowing that him and Lene are actually lovers, right? They're actually they're in love with each other, but it is a forbidden love, which is incest. You know, at some point, I joke and I always say, is it Yuri if it's not incest, which is just awful, but look, there's a lot of Yuri that involves that shit, and for some reason, it's as I grow up, it just gets more and more icky to me. You know what? I might as well just fucking talk about this whole, like, Lene and Lambert shit. Okay. The one thing that we really got in terms of a connection between Lene and Lambert that I remember anyways is that Lene gives a lot of compliments to her brother, where Rei was like, hey, I met your brother, by the way, and then she immediately goes into like, wow, isn't he the best? He's the great guy, he's the greatest guy ever. And in an anime form, you can kind of see that as like, oh, you know, she just really loves her brother, you know, maybe she has a brother complex. And in this case, it's just like, no, dude, no, she genuinely loves her brother. and so they have a forbidden love. They want to be able to run away, change their identity, right? Hide the fact that they are brothers and sisters so that they could live in peace and, you know, do whatever that they were intending to do, right? And again, just live their life out in peace and such. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It certainly is a moral stance, and it's just something that I can't really put into words currently. So I think I'll just write about it instead. So I'll probably if I do want to actually say something, I'll write about it. If I haven't already said what I really wanted to say. So there's that. Everything else after that, you know, the whole world building and then this Lambert stuff and then him in cahoots with the church guy and the church guy. Also, yeah, the church guy who we saw like last episode, I think. He just suddenly comes in. He's like, I'm the villain now. Haha. I'm the one who's causing all the ruckus now. Haha. And I'm just like, okay, cool, dude. Whatever. It's just like when they reveal that it's Lambert. He was the one orchestrating the conflict between the nobles and the commoners. So I'm just like, awesome, great, cool, dude, cool. Okay, you know what? All those I genuinely don't really have a concrete feeling on how I feel, and again, I'll think about it more once the season ends. But the one thing that I have a concrete idea on is Claire in her development in this episode, which I like. So here we have Claire, who have been very stern about the rift between commoners and nobles, right? Commoners are supposed to be at the bottom and nobles are supposed to be at the top. And that's just how it is, right? She always And you can see the way that she treated the commoners, like Matt, who was talking to Ray and all that. And she just like looks at the papers, just like, ugh, equality, fuck that shit. And she just takes Ray out. And then here, in this situation where they were talking about the conflict between Dee Dee and Matt, Claire is just here like, oh, most likely that commoner said something offensive. And it's just like, okay, just because he says something offensive, right? And also we've got Ray who's just like... And so Claire, I think it was Claire, who said it was the commoner movement, was it? They were spewing nonsense about noble and commoners being equal. It seemed they didn't understand their position at all, right? Underneath my boot. Out of the mouth comes evil, as they say. And then Ray asks, would it be acceptable if it were the other way? If the nobles were the one who is getting squashed under the commoners' boots? Would that be okay? Would you be okay with that? Because you say that as long as they know their position, would you be okay of being underneath other people's boots? But while Claire is maintaining this position, she comes in, she sees what the heck happened to Matt. Matt's over here all injured and shit. Ray tells him, she's here to speak on behalf of the Academy Knights, and he's just over here like, fuck that shit. Academy Knights are part of the nobles, right? You're just a fucking lackey working for the nobles. I ain't got time to speak about this. As Matt says, everybody knows the knights are on the nobles' side. And then Clarice is like, I have nothing to say to a commoner who's been tainted by the aristocracy. Aristocrats. Anyways. I think it would be best if you talk to us. Matt, you are a commoner like us. So quarreling with nobles puts you in an undesirable position. And then he gets upset, like, you see, there's no justice in this kingdom. It's like, I got into a quarrel with a fucking noble, and I'm in the unfavorable, I'm now the unfavorables. So he yells, right, there's no justice in this country, and that's why before he gets cut off. Okay, so he just recounts his story. At first it was an argument. He was talking to you, and then Dee Dee got upset, and then Dee Dee pulls out his Glock, and his Glock misfires, and then Matt is in the hospital because of that. Wait, hold on. Oh yeah, he did say that he told Dee Dee that royals and nobles are nothing but parasites that leech tax monies from commoners. And then and then Claire gets upset by that, which, I mean, understandable, but understandable on both sides, right? Myself aside, I couldn't stand... Okay, so this is Dee Dee. So that's the, yeah, okay. Who do those nobles think they are? Are we commoners not even allowed to speak? And so this touches Claire's heart. Did I say heart? She has multiple hearts. This touches her heart. And she starts to think differently about this because she, for the most part, from the way that she sees it, she was very much a spectator, and she still is kind of a spectator. But she hadn't really seen the bad side. It's kind of like racism. If you were born a different race, you were born in a different country, in a country and you're in a neighborhood where there's a lot more diversity and there really isn't all that big of like a racism issue, you might see other people talking about racism, and then you're just like, racism? I've never seen a racist in my life. But the people around me, they're all great people. But that's also because you are very much in your own circle, right? You're unwilling to look outside. Not saying you as in you, but you got what I'm saying. But you're unwilling to look outside of the box. You're only in this box, and that's kind of the way that Claire is. She's so in this box of other commoners, right? They're just fucking circle jerking one another. And so this is her first time seeing a commoner who is injured like this, and also she probably expected him to just be like, I don't know, slightly burned or something. And then she sees this man and just bandages, and she's just like, oh shit, this is actually worse than I thought. This is like Claire going and thinking that, oh, this guy, he's just fucking talking shit, and he got what he deserved, right? He got fucking punched. He expected that he just got like a backhand or something, or like a punch, and he might have fallen and hit his head, and that's why he needed to go to the hospital. No, what she didn't realize is that this man got fucking gangbanged, and
he got curb stomped on, you know? Every bone in his body is broken, and Clarence is like, whoa, nobles can do this? Holy shit.
And then with the Academy Knights splitting up the roles, right, the princes will talk to the nobles, and they only said Ray and Misha will talk to the commoners, but Claire decided to go and follow them anyway, so this is Claire kind of starting to not really... She might still be on her high horse, but she is just starting to listen to people still, right? While on a horse. Fucking horses. Hold on. Yeah, here we have Claire, who's just watching from the distance as Ray and Misha are talking with the commoners, right? She's observing them, but she's not, I would assume, she's not actually going about and try to fucking talk down on them or anything like that. She's just observing because she wants to watch. She wants to understand this issue that the commoners are going through, because she hadn't realized how bad it is until now. And then here we are with the announcement of what was going to happen to Dee Dee, and most of these people, or all of them, are the commoners. And so they're very upset at the fact that even Claire is just like, what the fuck? This is awful. Dee Dee only placed under house arrest for 1 week, and it's just like, man burned another person alive, and then he gets arrested for 1 week? Wow, it's almost like people in power, they tend to get just a slap on the wrist when they, when they do something fucking heinous. Don't you just hate it when you just casually break the law, and because your dad is like a powerful politician, that he can just get you to go to jail for like 1 month or something, or even like 1 week of jail, and then the rest of the month you're just placed under house arrest? God, awful. And so we have Claire talking about how like that commoner was hurt really bad, and they're only giving Dee Dee 1 week of house arrest? The fuck is this shit, right? This is not justice. This is not... perhaps what I think is that Claire, again, right, she was still very much inside the box, and so she thinks about like, well, what if this happened to another noble? From noble to noble, this noble burned the other noble. Of course, that the noble who gets burned, the noble who did the burning, will probably get a much heavier sentence, but also probably might not get a heavier sentence if the noble that did the burning is of a higher position of other nobles. You know, if the noble that got burned is from like a house that's like not as much money as the other noble with like much higher prices, they'd probably still get like a lighter sentence. But perhaps in Claire's brain, she's thinking if this were noble, the one that did the burning would probably get a much higher sentence than just 1 week of house arrest. So the fact that this happened, and from the way that she heard Matt talks, right, there's no justice in this country, because as long as the nobles are still on top, they're just going to put everything in favor of the nobles and the royalty. And again, here is Claire seeing the consequences of that. So I really enjoy the character development that Claire is going through this episode. The reason why I said that Claire technically hasn't really gone off of her high horse, she's still on the horse, but she's actually listening to people, is that when the Chimera gets summoned and they're running away, Claire is just like, no, we're not running away, we're not waiting until the military comes, because more people might get hurt, and if the military comes, Lene and Lambert are going to get even more harshly punished, because the Chimera hurts more people, right? So we've got to stop them right now. And then what Claire says, Lene belongs to me. She is my responsibility. Yeah, it's my responsibility to supervise her. So it's like she's starting to think more and more about the whole idea between commoner and nobles. But Lene still belongs to her, right? She is still my property. It's my responsibility to supervise her. That, or, you know, maybe she's just like, well, I mean, okay, I was gonna say maybe if it's just a, you know, work relationship, you know, I'm her boss and all that, but I don't know how I would feel if my boss tells me that I belong to them. Yeah, I would be like, whoa. But I do like that. That's what she says. right? Because she's still, in the end, in her mind, right? It's not really changing all that much. Well, it is changing, but she still has years and years of thinking about how commoners are below the nobles, right? So even though she's having a much different opinion on the commoners in general, right? She's understanding their plight and understanding their fight. She's still in her mind, unconsciously or consciously, holding to that thought that, yeah, Lene, who is a commoner, belongs to me because she's my maid. And also she's a commoner. So I enjoyed this episode in terms of Claire's development. So I really enjoy that. It's very nice. Everything else, that's my only opinion on everything else. It's just, I don't know. But yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys for well, I'll again, I'd say if I have anything else to say, I'll write it in the description, and I will be back for next week. That's not how my outro is, but thank you for sticking around. That's it.